Yeah, here you go. Who's at the door? Hey, William, who's at the door? Come see. Come here. It's for you. Look, Will, from the KidsDig workshop. You want to go put this together? Give me 5.
Here we go,
Yeah.
it's me and you. Look at all the stuff we do. Going where all the big kids go. Going where we build and grow. I grab my hammer and my paintbrush at the KidsDig workshop. Diggy and me, it's up to us at the KidsDig workshop. I use my mind, I use my hands at the KidsDig workshop. I sing along and I follow the plans at the KidsDig workshop.
Welcome once again to the KidsDig workshop. Happy to have you back. Today we're going to be working on a mold and deckle. This is a thing that we can use to make paper. Something to be said about making paper. It's a really exciting process and takes us back to our roots a little bit. Will's working on opening it up. Once again, want to thank you for the support. Telling a friend is the best thing you can do for us. We got little Matthew sitting in today. He turned 1 last week, so now that it's your birthday and you turned 1, you can sit in on the shop, buddy. Okay, so what we've got here first, let's put these all together. What we've got here first is we've got our felt. We're going to use these once we start pulling the paper, and we're going to stack the paper on top of this. So we don't need these for right now. We're going to put that off to the side. We've got pieces like this that have all the holes in them. These are end pieces. We're going to want these ones pretty early. These ones here that are kind of funky shaped and have the cuts on the end, we're going to put those to the side. We don't need those for right now. This is the screen. We're going to use this while we pull the paper as well. So we'll just sit that off to the side. We don't need to fasten that on quite yet. You need some more Cheerios, buddy? Yep. Matthew likes some Cheerios. Okay, so we're going to take these 2 pieces that have the holes in them, and then we've got 2 pieces that are just, these 2 that are just perfectly square, that don't have any holes in them whatsoever. So these are our side pieces. These ones are we're gonna basically sit these ones on the table like this first, and then we're gonna nail this down through into there. So the first thing we're gonna wanna do is we're gonna wanna put some glue right here. You wanna use the brush or you wanna use the bottle? Okay, we're gonna use the bottle today. There you go, it's coming out. Perfect. A little bit, good. That's perfect. We've got our little bag of nails. We'll go ahead and get it out.
Oopsies, I knocked it down.
Okay, I'll help you. So we'll sit these up on the work table like this. Line this side up, and then that side up,
Put nails in it.
and then put nails in it. William's right. While he's nailing it in, I'll hold it kind of flush and shrew it up a little bit. So we've got our ruler and our pencil. We're gonna wanna bring this across. The overall measurement of this piece here is 9 inches. We're gonna measure across to the halfway point of 9. Half of 9 is what?
4.5.
Wow, William, good job, buddy. So we'll mark that at 4.5, and then once we mark that at 4.5, we come over 2 inches, and then 2 inches off of the center. So we have our center mark, we come over 2 this way, and we come over 2 this way, and we mark those marks. Then we've got our baffles. These baffles are gonna help the water come down through as we actually pull the pieces of paper out. And so we're gonna take these, and with the pointy side facing up, we're gonna put these in like this. We're gonna stand it up like this right here, and then nail it down into there. So we take our baffle, and we put a little bit of glue on one end. And we stand up our frame, and we line that up right on our pencil mark that we've got. And it's nice to be flush to the pointed side. If the bottom sticks down a little bit, that's okay, but we want to be flush to the pointed side. And William will nail them off. Let's take our second baffle, and we'll go ahead and put the glue on it as well. Line it up on our center pencil mark. Flush to the pointed side again. We'll take our third baffle, and we'll put the glue on it. And then line it up with our last pencil mark. All right. So now we've got that side assembled. We're gonna take our other side piece, or end piece, I guess I should call it, the one that's got the other 10 holes in it, and we're gonna lay it out. We're gonna mark it real quick.
Then use the hammer.
Yep. Once again, William, what's we got 9 total. What's half of 9?
1. And then 2.
Okay.
And then 3.
And then 4.
And then 4.
And then what's half of 9? 4 and a half.
This many.
Oh, that many? Okay. So we mark it again at 4 and a half.
And then this many. 2. Big 2.
And then off of that center mark, we come over 2. And then the same thing off the center mark, we come over the other side 2. Now we can go ahead and put glue on the ends of all of these, line it all up and nail it off. Okay. William just pounded in the final nails on this piece right here. One thing we want to do real quick is we want to make sure it's perfectly square. You could use a lot of things to do this, and we could even use the envelope off of the KidsDig Workshop package. If you sit it on there, and it's basically following the cardboard cutout of the KidsDig Workshop package, that means we're pretty good. It's going to be important that we do that so that as this frame sits on there, it sits nice and square. Okay, now that we've checked our bottom section for being square and being good, what we're going to do is we're going to want to put this screen on there. We're going to put those on in just a second, bud. And so what we'll do is we'll sit this screen on. It's bigger than we need it to be. And so we'll sit that on, and then we've got 4 pieces that are thin. They don't have any holes in them, and they've got a little...
No, they do.
No, they don't. These ones don't have holes. And they've got a little bit of a chamfered edge. That chamfered edge is going to be...
But the one does.
This chamfered edge right here is going to face in, and that way we make sure it doesn't hit the frame of the top part. And so, first thing we're going to want to do is take one of these, which would probably be the longest ones that are along this side right here on the long edge, and we can just hold it flush over top of the screen and then nail it in. In the bag with the screws, we've got some smaller nails that basically don't really have much of a head on them. They're really, really little, but they're really sharp. And so we didn't pre-drill these ones. You can just kind of take these and stab them into the wood, and then should be able to start from there. What are you talking about over there, Matthew?
What are you doing with the way it on?
Okay, bub. So once we line up that piece right there, we can kind of take the nail and just sort of push it in there. And they pound in really easily. So we'll go around, we'll do that for the next 3, so we'll put 4 of them in this one, 4 of them in this one. When we go to put this one on, we'll pull it a little bit tight. So let's finish this one first. Okay, now that we've got our screen put on, we're going to want to trim this back off. You could use a pair of scissors or you could use a knife. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to have William do this part. And it's just kind of running it with that knife. You can just kind of run it right along the edge right there, real nice. Trim it back out of there. Now we've got our frame and our screen put on there. We've got 2 more pieces that are just the last little square pieces that we have left. These ones are going to go on each side, and these create little handles for us. And so we'll put a little bit of glue on them, and then we'll stand it up on the sides, and we'll nail it in. Just line that up, and make it nice and flush, and pound it in. Line that up, make it flush, and pound it in. Great job. Now we'll do the other side. Some glue.
It's in my foot. I thought it was
Really? Hooray! Are you happy about that? Matthew's really excited about it. We've got the entire bottom of our molten deckle put together. So we're going to put this to the side for right now. We don't need that. We're going to start working on our top frame. Now we've got our bottom assembly done. We're ready to start working on the top frame part. So we're going to want to find the 2 pieces that are the same length this way, and then the 2 pieces that are the same length this way. And we're going to lay them out on the table just like they're going to sit like this right here. Will's gonna put a little bit of glue on that miter there. Okay, so now we've got our glue on that miter. We're gonna lay it on there and push this one up to it. Once it sits there for just a second, it'll start to form its little bit of a bond, but I think we'll take some tape because we gotta put these angled brackets. These little brackets go on the corners. Same way you see on this one here, these angled brackets go on the corners. That's to give it strength because we're gonna put this thing in the water. We're gonna dip it in the water a whole bunch of times every time we make a piece of paper. And if we just nailed the corner, it would fall apart pretty quick. Yeah, we don't want it to fall apart, do we, buddy? So once we line up the miter and we've got the tape on there, we'll slide it over to the edge of the work table. And we'll start putting the screws in that are gonna hold it together. So we go ahead and we tape off all 4 sides and we get those miters put together real nice and as good as we can. And then we'll start each bracket. We'll kind of work our way around, just sort of working our way. Yep, that one's not quite. So we've got this one started, but we haven't put the screws in all the way yet. We want to go ahead and just kind of work our way around and just kind of tighten them up as we go so we can get the nicest miters that way and the nicest frame that way. Okay, so we've got all 4 sides started. I've been using a cordless drill. You can just do them with a hand screwdriver as well. It's up to you. I do got a wood shop, so we do have a few tools in it, so we went ahead and chose to use this right here. Now we've got our frames put together. We've got our entire assembly done. It's time to start making some paper. I'm gonna get William some juice. We're gonna kind of switch gears a little bit and we'll set up where we're gonna make the paper at and we'll be right back. Great, well we're back. Will's got a little bit of juice. Now we're gonna start doing the paper making process. This is really fun, whether it's a holiday or a birthday, something about making a piece of paper and sending it off to, a relative or a family member or, a great friend that really says you care because you put the effort in to actually make the paper. We can make this just about out of anything. Here we've just got some old floor diagrams from some stuff, from construction stuff. We're just gonna take this, we're just gonna tear it into strips. And then once we tear them into strips, we'll just tear them up into small pieces. We kind of want them to be about, 1 inch by 1 inch, somewhere around in there. We've got a bowl of warm water here. And so we just tear these up and we just go ahead and...
What are you doing, Daddy?
We're gonna put these into here and then we're gonna put them into the blender. So we can tear up. We've got some of Will's construction paper. These are pretty pictures that he's drawn that we're gonna go ahead and turn into a brand new piece of paper. So if you wanna start tearing that one up, we can tear that up. While Will's finishing tearing up the last little bit of the paper, there's a couple of different ways you could do this. We're gonna use a blender because it's a lot easier. With a blender, we're gonna wanna, put our paper into there, add a little tiny bit of water, and we're basically gonna turn it into like an oatmeal consistency. If you get it too fine and you got too much water in there, it'll beat it up too bad and it won't stick in the screen. Old-fashioned way, you could take some of your paper that you've torn up and put it into a, some sort of a hard container, and with a little bit of water in there, you could just kind of beat it up and smash it up and turn it into pulp this way. It works, it definitely works, it's just a lot of extra effort. Using the blender, it cleans up real nice and that's no problem. So if you use something like this, just expect it's gonna take a little bit longer and you might not get it as fine of pieces. We finished tearing it up. Will's just finishing up tearing up the last couple pieces there. We'll pour a little bit of water in there. We're gonna wanna make this to about an oatmeal consistency, and so we'll just start with a small amount of water. I'll use this same thing and kind of push it down a little bit. That's looking pretty good. We've got a pretty nice oatmeal-like consistency. This is gonna work out really well. So once we get this done, we take that and we'll end up adding it to a big vat of water, and we'll do that here in just 1 second. So now we've got a vat of water here, and we've already got some pulp added into it. We're gonna take our pulp that we've got right here, we're gonna add it to it.
Why are you doing this now?
Add that in and we'll stir it around real nice. And for effect, we're gonna take some pieces of the construction paper. You can use just about any type of paper for this, except for not shiny paper. Any kind of magazine or something like that that's shiny won't work very good. But construction paper, old newspaper, Like I said, once again, anything that's not shiny works really good. Now that we've got our pulp mixed in and we're just about ready to start making paper, we're gonna wanna add a little bit of liquid starch to it. Not too much, probably about that much right there. That's gonna make a big difference if we wanna write a letter on this and we want to write a nice note to grandma or an aunt or an uncle. That liquid starch will help make the paper a little stiffer and a little finer so that the pen and the marker doesn't bleed. Okay, we've got our little pieces added in. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna give this a little bit of a stir. And then we'll pick this up. We'll grab both pieces together and put your fingers on the bottom handles right there. Give it a quick little stir and just dip it in the water. Once you got it dipped in there pretty good, holding it all together real nice and tight, pull it out nice and slow.
Can I do that?
Yep. And you're just gonna let the water settle down through the mold and the deckle. Let it drain out as good as possible. You can kind of move it around like this to try to get it as even as you can.
You do it.
Hold on. And take the frame off. No, don't touch it. Once you take the frame off, we'll go ahead and tip it to the side a little bit and try to get as much of that water out of there as we can. With that, we've let the majority of the water settle that out of there. We're gonna take this piece of felt that Will has on our towel right there. And we'll take this and we'll flip it over, lining it up real nice on our piece of felt. The felt's orange, so you can kind of see it through there real nice, and it works out really good. And if you have to, you can flick the bottom of the screen, and that'll just sort of release the
What are you doing?
Once we've got that like that, we'll put another piece of felt on it.
Let me hit it down.
Okay. And then we just keep going.
Big and booger makeup.
So we'll take our molten deckle and we'll clean it off real quick. We'll put the top back on. Give this a little bit of a stir. And then we'll do it again.
We need.
Dunk it in like this. Pull it up. Good one, buddy. So these ones are still a little bit wet. You can speed up the drying process by using an iron or a hair dryer. This one's perfectly dry. This is a great project. This is great fun for the adults, fun for the kids. Whenever you send this to somebody or give this to somebody, they're going to know you spent a lot of love and a lot of time making this, and that's a beautiful thing. And so thanks again for joining us, telling a friend, supporting the workshop. We really appreciate that. Follow us on Facebook. Just kind of keep up to date with the KidsDig workshop. We're constantly trying to improve. And Matthew and William, thank you for having me here. We'll see you next time.